In our last video, we were hanging out in Narragansett Bay in Rhode Island, doing some clamming with an expert local, and then we turned them into some delicious stuffies. Then we were in Island Park area doing some touring, going to some of our favorite haunts, and then off to Newport in search of the elusive lobster roll. Then we headed off out to Block Island, where we hunkered down for some storms, and then got involved in a very interesting scavenger hunt. In today's video, we attend an authentic New England Clambake. You're not going to want to miss this one. And it's not all fun and games on island time. We get into some generator maintenance, and then we take a trip to Fisher's Island, New York. We do a little bit of touring. We stop at a friend's 60th birthday party, and then we have to make sure that Pancake takes care of a little bit of a problem that requires some surgery. Have you ever dreamed of selling it all and cruising into the sunset? Well, that's exactly what we did. It's no fun going it alone though, so why don't you join us for the ride?
Drill? No, put it forward. Now, you don't even have to give it gas right now.
How do I steer it? Oh, this way, right?
Yep.
With dinghy training completed, we were off to the annual Safe Harbor Lobster Feast and Clambake. These festivities surround Race Week and are held in Newport, Rhode Island and Portsmouth, Rhode Island, and they are free to Safe Harbor Marina members. This event is typically on Friday night at the Safe Harbor New England Boat Works in Portsmouth, and they erect this tent that can probably hold 500 plus people. It's open bar with a number of stations. Bars open at 6 p.m. and guess who was the first in line? And this year, Citizens Bank and Mount Gay Rum were the big sponsors. Oh yeah, and some tequila was in the house too.
Once they're gone, they're gone. So you are one of the lucky ones.
Thank you.
Enjoy, guys. Good night.
They even had a live band with an impressive horn section. But honestly, this is the most impressive part.
We asked you out here to explain how your meal was cooked tonight. For those that have never seen one of these before, this is a traditional, old-fashioned New England clambake. You may know the method of the clambake. It's an indigenous style of cooking. We owe this method to the Native Americans from this area. They taught it to the early colonists that came over, and from there it's passed down generation to generation, much like in my family. My grandfather taught my father how to do this, and my father taught me. So by traditional, what I mean is we started 4 hours ago by building a giant bonfire. You can see from the size of this, it was quite a fire. We basically stack wood this high. We put rocks on top of that, and then more wood on top of that. We put a match to it, get this gigantic bonfire going to heat our rocks. We burn the wood away so that all that's left is those hot stones, and that's what's cooking our food. When we get to that point, we get with the most crucial ingredient in the clambake cooking process, which is, of course, seaweed. This type of seaweed is rockweed. You probably see it in these coves around here, right? The type with the bubbles. So we have our hot stones. We put the seaweed onto the hot stones. All the bubbles start to pop right away. So we'll put about a 10-inch layer of the seaweed down, then all of the food on top of that, and then we'll cover it in with about 30 layers of damp canvas. We let it sit for 2 hours and hope for the best.
I did bail it.
Woo!
Yeah.
There's a lot of seaweed, right, Santa?
Lobsters! There we go, folks. Perfect every time, of course. So as I mentioned, it is like a 2-hour cooking process. So what you're going to notice is your lobster will be a much more tender, kind of flaking apart. That's what we're looking for, but still be very sweet. In the bake today, we have red roast potato, we have corn on the cob, we have chorizo, which is a Portuguese-style sausage, Prince Edward Island mussels, Spinney Creek, Maine steamers, and of course, some good Rhode Island lobster, one for everybody. Yeah! Anyone hungry? Yeah!
It appears we've had enough fun, so let's do some maintenance.
All right, here's a little project we're doing today, Maintenance Thursday. This is the generator in the forward port compartment, and I've been pretty religious about changing the oil on time, but not so good at changing the fuel filter. And I think it's like 400, 500 hours ago. What you don't want it to do is to fuel filter to clog when you need it. The idea is that we use the generator about an hour a day to charge our batteries on a sunny day, maybe 2 hours plus on a cloudy day. And we need the batteries to run basically most things on the boat. So we need the batteries to stay charged. And if the fuel line gets clogged, the generator won't start. We have no generator. Not a good thing. So we need to change the fuel filters. It's got basically 2 filters. This one back here, it's called, the brand is Raycor, Parker Raycor, that R20P. And there's a little clear inspection bowl on the bottom, and that's how you can see if you have dirty fuel or actually water in the fuel, because it's a fuel water separator. I believe water is heavier than the fuel. I think that's it. And you would see it collecting on the bottom. So on the bottom there's a little turn spigot there, a drain where you could drain it if you have water or contaminants in there. So that's known as the primary filter, and the secondary filter is just a straight fuel filter. It's on the engine right here. It kind of looks like an oil filter. So what I believe we have to do, because I haven't done it in a couple of years, is I've turned the fuel flow off to the system, so there's no fuel running into here. And then we'll drain that red bowl of diesel on the bottom there, and we'll unscrew that filter. And I have a replacement filter right here to go in there. So you screw the plastic bowl on the bottom, and then screw this on top, and you use a little bit of a diesel fuel on the gaskets, or oil if you have it, just so they don't slip when you're screwing it, but it's hand tight. And then this is the new fuel filter to go on the side here. We'll unscrew that one, not try and drop too much fuel in there, and get rid of it. Then what we probably have to do is bleed the system, because we're going to introduce air to get air out of it. So somewhere around this fuel pump, somewhere, maybe it's right here, there's a little bit of a plunger. I've got to find it, and we'll move it around, and there's a bleed screw. Could even be right on top here. What we'll do is we'll bleed the air out of the system. I've got to look into that a little further. We'll get the air out, and then we'll try and restart it, and hopefully the generator will start back up. And if so, we've done everything right. If not, back to the drawing board. So that's the project du jour. You think I made a mistake. This is not the fuel pump. It's down here under the fuel filter, so it's right here. This is the fuel pump. And I think there's a little something underneath it there to move back and forth to help lead the system. This little lever, pretty sure. Figure it out. Forgot to mention this. This is the battery here for the generator to start the generator. And the battery switches here. We'll need to turn this to off here, right? Turn it to off so that I know no one will start the generator, but it's always a good thing when you're mucking around to turn the battery off. So we'll do that for safety. Safety first. So I'd emptied most of the fuel out, and I don't know if you can see on the bottom, you can see a lot of crud in there, so it's a good thing I did it. That's draining this fuel bowl here, this water of the water separator, and out of this little spigot. I didn't have a hose, so I had to screw around with a little cup in there. It's kind of tight, but I did it. Now I just have the new filter here. I have to reassemble this to the bottom of the new filter using this kind of orangey colored gasket here, and put a little diesel on there and screw it back on, and then this gasket here goes from this housing when I screw it up top back in. And what I need to do is fill this all the way up with diesel, and I've got some fresh diesel fuel to put in there, and then screw it back in, hopefully without making a mess. Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Long story short, I reassembled everything and the generator started right up.
So it's 7:45 this morning, and we are headed from upper Narragansett Bay in Rhode Island, kind of near Portsmouth and Bristol and Tiverton. We're headed to Fisher's Island today. We're going to do a little bit something different. Instead of going down the East Passage towards Newport, we're going to go on the other side of the island on the Sakonnet River. Not done that yet. I'm not sure why, but today seems like a nice calm day, beautiful day to do it. For this 55-mile run, my guess will take us about 4 to 5 hours in total, but we expect a good day, low winds, hopefully nice seas. And we just pumped out our waste, took on water here, and we are raring to go.
We had a super nice day with a hint of fall in the air. I think it was high 60s when we left, but almost no wind. As we headed down the Sakonnet towards the Atlantic Ocean, Little Compton, Rhode Island is on the left, and it's known for being a pricey area to live with large rural type estates and a lot of seaside. In contrast, Portsmouth on the right is on Aquidneck Island, which has Newport, Middletown, then Portsmouth, and it is more heavily populated but full of very nice homes. These all have a nice view of the Sakonnet River.
So about 10 years ago, we used to be sailors. We had a Catalina sailboat, Catalina 34. And I probably posted a few things on Facebook. And at the time I connected with a guy I used to know in high school by the name of Tim. And he had just bought a sailboat. And he said, hey, can you come out and show me the ropes? Pun intended. And we went out off of Mystic, Connecticut for the day, had a good old time, and I've stayed connected with him since. So it's kind of always good to stay connected with people that are in the same hobby and similar likes. So we have been talking recently as we're up here, and Tim is a member of a yacht club on Fisher's Island, New York, which is right off of Mystic, Connecticut. And he hooked us up with a mooring ball here for the night. Beautiful spot here, quite secluded and protected from the wind. So pretty happy about that. And I think he's got a car on this island, so we'll probably hopefully do a little tour. Haven't been here in 30, 40 years. So I'd like to see what Fisher's Island, New York has to offer.
the Fisher's Island Yacht Club buildings are somewhat unassuming, but you could just feel the history inside. Fisher's Island is about 9 miles long by 1 mile wide, and it's about 11 miles from the tip of Long Island, New York, though it's only 2 miles from Connecticut. There are about 235 full-time year-round residents, and in the summertime about 2,000 residents. You can get there by ferry from Connecticut, and also there's a small airport. So Fisher's Island's a quiet little place. I think there's one big restaurant, a couple markets, an ice cream shop. So pretty much it's a place to go to escape. Fisher's Island was a coastal defense fort in World War II, and there's still some signs of old military installations around town. But really, what most people come here for are the beaches. Oh, and don't forget the fishing. It's very well known for the fishing all around the island. And after our trip to Fisher's, we had to take Pancake up for surgery and had some time to sneak away to a 60th birthday party. This one was a surprise party on a paddle boat in Plymouth, Mass, and we lucked out with some beautiful weather. And for you boating enthusiasts, this was a little something that intrigued me. The fact that there were actually dual paddles on this paddle boat that would move independently, kind of like on our catamaran with 2 engines. It was very easy for them to steer and maneuver this boat into place. Poor little Pancake had some surgery the next morning, very early, to remove that growth on her lip. She did very well, but left with a shaved half face and a number of stitches. After about 3 weeks, they all dissolved and she was back in action. And that's a wrap for this video. Please like and subscribe if you haven't.